On this week's show, Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Thomas Brady reaches a historic milestone, and an Iowa State football player has a touchdown taken away for, quote, taunting, end quote.
In this week's history lesson, we tell the story of one NFL team and two college teams who are all using the same helmet logo.
That and much more this week in the world of football.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 220, if you can believe it, for October 26, 2021. I'm your host, Randy Snow, and across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Yes, it's a nice sunny day after a couple days of nothing but rain.
Yesterday it was raining all day long, 45 degrees, cold, nasty, and right now it's close to 60 and the sun is shining.
Yeah,
wow.
Not too bad.
Yeah, that's Michigan for you. We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. From the NFL to the CFL to the XFL, college, high school, indoor, and arena football, we inform and entertain our listeners with a glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and now YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of the show, as well as other selected videos. So, let's review what happened this past week, and we begin with the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. We're going to kick things off with Thursday Night Football, which saw the Denver Broncos traveling to Cleveland to play the Browns, and I don't know if anybody else watched this game besides me, but that opening drive by Cleveland was pretty awesome. It was a really quick first drive, and the name that everybody was talking about that night, and I might be mispronouncing his first name, but D'Ernest or D'Ernest, I'm not sure exactly how they ended up pronouncing it.
I think it's D'Ernest.
D'Ernest Johnson, who had the most rushing yards by an undrafted player in their first start, with 146 yards rushing. This dude, just out of nowhere, just in his first start ever, looking like, he's been a star running back for ages. Guess the guy, his big story was he sent a message to every single AAF team a couple years back, eventually landed with the Orlando Apollos, and then here he is starting in an NFL game. I believe he had a touchdown in that game too. So yeah, heck of a game for him, and Cleveland ends up getting the win 17-14, and of course Baker Mayfield not at the helm this week. Backup Case Keenum filling in for the Browns there. So
I understand that they're going to have a documentary about this player next year when he shows up to training camp, and it's going to be called D'Ernest Goes to Camp.
Boo! Boo this man! Boo this man! Wow! Is that what you were thinking the whole time I was talking? Oh my God! You're not
I thought
funny.
about this the other night when I saw D'Ernest Johnson. I thought, D'Ernest goes to Canton. How can I work that into the podcast?
D'Ernest scared stupid. D'Ernest goes to jail.
D'Ernest goes to the Army. Joins the Army.
All the Ernest. Yeah, we get it. You're an Ernest fan, so am I. But come on.
I love
that.
Ernest.
Was bad. That was bad.
Continue.
Moving on, the New York Giants spanked the Carolina Panthers 25-3. For New York, this is their first home win against Carolina since 2010. The New England Patriots throttled the New York Jets 54-13. New England now has won 12 straight games against the New York Jets. The Tennessee Titans took the Chiefs out to the woodshed and beat the crap out of them 27-3. There's a theme so far. Been a lot of whoopings this week. Andy Reid is now 1-8 career-wise against Tennessee. That is the worst versus any franchise. So Tennessee, for whatever reason, has Kansas City's number. Kansas City's already kind of not up to their usual standards this year, but Tennessee, who's kind of on the upswing, coming across that Kansas City team, just right time, right place to just give them a butt whooping.
Is that why you're wearing an Andy Reid hat today?
Not really. I mean, Andy Reid wears a ball cap.
Well, I've seen him wear that kind of hat too.
Well, no connection there.
Okay.
The Green Bay Packers defeated the Washington football team 24-10. This is the 6th straight home game Green Bay has won 6 straight home games against Washington now. So they've got their number. The Atlanta Falcons squeaked out a victory over the Miami Dolphins 30-28. How about this? Rookie Kyle Pitts has the second most receiving yards, 163, by a rookie tight end since 1970. Very impressive for this guy. Went 4th overall in the draft. Kind of been a no-show for the first, part of the season, but last couple of games that the Falcons have played, Kyle Pitts has really shown out.
Can we back up for just 1 second?
No, because you had your chance.
I saw this just a little while ago after the Chiefs-Titans game.
So we got to go 2 back? Come on. Where you been?
Carl Madsen, an NFL official for more than 20 years, died on his way home after working the game as the replay official. He was 71 years old. Yeah, I have a note here, but you went on to the next one so fast, I didn't get a chance to interject that little.
Well, you got to interject. Come on, you know how rapid fire I can get.
I know.
I either get super long-winded, or I get very short. We're in and out. So you got to just jump in when you get the chance.
Yeah, I saw that today.
I did not hear that at all.
Yeah, that was I saw that on one of the social media sites.
Dang.
And it was pretty tragic. I guess he died while he was driving home.
And condolences to the family.
Yeah.
Man, that's just a real bummer.
I guess he hadn't been an on-field official since 2008. I don't think. But I've always said the replay officials should be former officials who know the game, but they just can't. Their knees are bad or whatever. Put them up in the replay booth. Let them sit there, put on their glasses and watch the replays and make the call. That's what he was doing.
Okay, well, not an easy transition out of that one. The next game, the Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Baltimore Ravens 41-17. That is Cincinnati's largest margin of victory against Baltimore in team history. Who would have thought that the Bengals would be as good as they are this year? I thought they'd be an improved team, but
with Joe Burrow coming back off an injury, I didn't think they'd be this good this soon.
But spoiler alert, the number 1 seed in the AFC currently would not have guessed.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. The Philadelphia Eagles fell to the Las Vegas Raiders 33-22. This is Las Vegas's first 5-2 start since the 2016 season, where they finished 12-4. The Arizona Cardinals beat the Houston Texans 31-5. Not often you see a team finish with 5 points. Arizona's 7-0 start for the second time in team history, the other time being 1974. The Chicago Bears fell to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 38-3, a game in which Tom Brady becomes the first player in NFL history with 600-plus career passing touchdowns.
Yeah, there's that whole thing about the receiver that caught it.
Mike Evans.
Gave it to a fan in the stands. They got it back, and you were saying how the guy got gypped by giving it back. He could have held on to it.
Everybody was speculating that's a $500,000 football right there.
He did the right thing by giving it back, and they negotiated with him, and this is what he's getting in return. He's getting 2 signed jerseys and a helmet from Tom Brady, a signed Mike Evans jersey and his game-worn cleats, a $1,000 credit at the Buccaneers team store. That'll get him maybe 2 jerseys and a package of gum. Let's see. He gets 2 season tickets for the rest of this season and next season. And last night, Tom Brady was on Peyton and Eli, and he said he was also going to give the guy a Bitcoin. And I heard today that Bitcoin is worth $63,000.
So do you hold on to it right now while it's that much, or do you gamble and...
It could go up, could go down.
Right,
who knows?
That's the scary thing.
That's totally up to him. That's his decision. But yeah, that's what he's getting in exchange for giving back that ball that was handed to him. Yeah. But that'll that ball's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah,
it'll be on display with a jersey and whatever else from that game.
Yep.
Maybe his gloves or something.
And crap, speaking of Hall of Fame, I do have to backtrack.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow, Karma snuck up on me on this one.
Yeah.
In that Cardinals game, we forgot to mention, Zach Ertz was traded last week from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Arizona Cardinals. It was ineligible to play last week, obviously, with the Cardinals because he just played Thursday Night Football with Philly. But here's the funny thing. He caught a touchdown pass in that game, and then this week, he caught a touchdown pass with his brand new team, the Arizona Cardinals, and he becomes the first player in NFL history to have a touchdown catch in back-to-back games in a season with 2 different teams. The game ball and his gloves are headed to Canton, Ohio.
Wow.
So that's a cool thing for him.
Yeah.
He definitely helped out my fantasy team because I needed a tight end, and I wasn't sure if he'd even play much with the Cardinals. But yeah, that just a cool little story there. Like the fact that
I had not heard that.
Who would have thought guy catching a touchdown pass with 2 teams, 2 weeks in a row? You know, I never would have thought
You would have thought it would have happened before. A lot of guys get traded during the season, but you know, I guess it's never happened before.
Crazy.
Yep.
All right, we get to the game that I'm sure a lot of people who know us as Lions fans are waiting for us to talk about, and that's the Lions traveling out to Los Angeles to play Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. The Lions fell 28-19, so a 9-point loss, which, I'm sorry, better than I expected.
They were 15.5-point underdogs, so
they cover the spread.
Cover the spread, yep.
So for those of you who bet on the Lions, congratulations. If you were to watch that game, we were dumbfounded for about 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Well, so first quarter, the Lions open up with I'd say it's a lucky touchdown they got to kick off things. DeAndre Swift caught like ran a 63-yard screen pass for a touchdown, which was awesome, by the way.
Yep, sure was.
And of course, we're sitting around, Lions about to kick off, and then all of a sudden, onside kick. First kickoff for Detroit of the game, and we're all dumbfounded.
Just minutes into the game, and they're doing an onside kick.
And we're dumbfounded, and they get it.
And they got it, yeah.
And we were like, are you kidding me? Then they march down, they kick a field goal, go up 10-0. Right. And if you would have asked me last week, do you think the Lions will be up by 10 points, I would have laughed in your face.
Right.
Said you were probably high and you need to go get drug tested. But they had a lead for a lot of this game.
Yeah.
Which was...
Well, they had the lead going into the fourth quarter.
That was something we said. Did you think the Lions would have the lead going into the fourth quarter? Right. And we both said no.
I expected this to be a total beatdown, 45-0, something like that.
I expected Matt Stafford to throw at least 10 touchdowns in this game. But I don't know if they were just taking it easy on Detroit, or if Detroit, who's banged up, who's got no real playmakers, they got a couple guys here and there.
Right.
But a team that is just got nothing to, they can't finish. But a team that hung with one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yep.
We're 0-7, and we took it to them. And we didn't even mention the 2 fake punts.
Right. Haven't I always said that's my favorite play in all of football, the fake punt?
You might have, and you got 2 of them.
That. And they got 2 of them.
And they did them 2 different ways, which is really cool, too.
The punter threw that was a hell of a spiral he threw.
He had a better passer rating than, I saw a stat somewhere. He was tied for like the best passer rating of the weekend, or punter.
But that was a hell of a pass he threw. It wasn't a short pass. It was a long pass.
That's Pro Bowl punter Jack Fox for you. The best player on our team.
Yeah, it was great. And then the next time they did a fake punt, they
ran
it short to the guy, like 5 yards back, and he just ran around left end, and he was gone. And there's so many times during a game
where you think that they could do that all the time.
They could, because they're looking to stop the punt. There's nobody down those sides. If you can get the ball out to somebody along the sidelines, you're going to get your first down. You may not score a touchdown, but you will get your first down.
And you know how easy it probably is to run a comeback route, like with those gunners, like you just pretend like you're about to run down the field.
Right.
You stop, you immediately come back.
Yep.
I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often. And I think Detroit showed, like, we did this twice in the game. I'm wondering if more teams, and especially the Rams now, are going to do this a lot more.
Detroit had nothing to lose. I think it was perfectly fine. It was totally unexpected. I didn't expect it.
No.
But once you saw what they were doing, I was like, okay, great. They got nothing to lose. Nobody says they're going to win this game. They probably won't win this game, but still, they were playing the heck out of it.
They threw everything in the kitchen sink. The only problem that Detroit has now is they can't finish in the red zone.
Yep.
I don't know if that's limitations with play calling, playmakers, the quarterback. I'm not going to throw blame on one person. It's a team game.
Yeah, we need to score a lot of points in order to win a game.
They had a 9-minute drive end with no points.
Yeah, and ended with an interception that basically ended the game.
And the one time we heard Aaron Donald's and Jalen Ramsey's name all game long, and it was that play. All game, I was thinking it to that point. I have not heard Aaron Donald's name mentioned.
Right.
I never heard Jalen Ramsey was in on a couple tackles. What? But you would have expected Aaron Donald to have decimated our offensive line.
Lived
and guess the rookie, Penei Sewell, there's a great video of him locking it up with Aaron Donald, and I was impressed with that rookie. Dude stood his ground, and the dude was not afraid of that big bad man in L.A., which, I'm sorry, I'd piss my pants if Aaron Donald came at me, even like jokingly.
Right.
But I mean, you got to give the Lions some credit, but at the end of the day, it's all about wins, and they're 0-7.
They are fighting. They're doing the best they can with the players they've got. all I hope for is that they get at least a win
Right.
this year, and I think they can.
They can. I think right now we started 0-7 for the first time since the 2008 season when we finished 0-16.
Right.
I think they can pick up a win or two.
Right.
They got a very winnable game this weekend, I feel. But we'll see. God, I mean, I'll give them this. They're a heck of a scrappy team compared to that 2018.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that falls on the coaching staff. I assume a lot of the credit's got to go to the coaching staff for getting a lot of these guys who are junkyard heap dudes or just young guys that just haven't played in this league. We have a couple undrafted rookies playing on defense, and they're doing all right. They've hung with some of the best receivers. I mean, obviously Cooper Kupp's still going to get his, but I mean, they did really well. And for the Lions having scraps, they're playing scrappy. Haven't gotten a win out of it, but what? Don't give me the hand waving like we need to continue.
All right, we've talked
what
about
else is
this
there to talk about? Oh, we got 2 more games left? Okay. The Indianapolis Colts won against the 49ers on Sunday Night Football 30-18. This game was hard to watch at first. Like that rain, it was raining real hard out there in San Francisco. I don't know how any of these guys didn't have more fumbles or, losing the ball, at all.
Yep.
But Indianapolis has now won 5 straight games against San Francisco, and that Colts defense showed up. So good for the Colts. And then on Monday Night Football last night, the New Orleans Saints pulled out the victory 13-10 over the Seattle Seahawks without Russell Wilson again, by the way. Alvin Kamara had 20 rushes for 51 yards and had 10 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown, which was the big difference in this ball game. I didn't get to watch much of the second half, but
I tried to stay up.
Seemed pretty even for the most part.
Yeah. I tried to stay up. I was up until midway through the fourth quarter. It was 10-10, and I woke up and the pregame or the postgame show was going on. So, I didn't actually see the end of the game, but I just had the feeling that New Orleans was going to win that when it was tied up and they were moving the ball and Seattle didn't seem like they could move it very well. So I figured they were going to find a way to win. And
on bye this week, the Steelers, Bills, Chargers, Jags, Vikings, and Cowboys all on bye this week. And that is it for the NFL portion of our scoreboard. Unless you want to quickly talk about that Manning cast. I thought it was pretty good last night from what I saw.
Yeah, we basically watched the whole Monday Night Football game on the Manning.
I watched the whole first half at least.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch,
pretty
great good. Little some language got by the censors.
Yeah, they cut him off a little early. They tried to bleep him out once, and they couldn't.
Oh, they were too late. You can't keep up with Marshawn.
And so I think they just cut his segment short after that.
But, I don't know. They usually just go to the end of a quarter. They try to do one a quarter.
They had Tom Brady on, and they kept him hanging around for quite a bit. But
yeah.
I don't know, but it was fun. They're getting better at it.
I think that was a good broadcast. I think they finally nailed what works, and it's
right.
Just watch the game.
It's still a little hard because they're all three in different locations. Pele's in one place, Eli's in another. Their guest is at their house or whatever, right. And so there's a little bit of a lag. So they're talking over each other.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. But when they get a chance to actually
annoying.
Like we're talking over each other right now.
True, but I can look you in the eyes and give you the cut sign.
What?
Like,
I'm going to talk over you. Oh, okay. But no, so the talking over each other is the hardest part.
Right.
But I think them watching the game together, great. Like I can just do that, and especially Tom Brady and Peyton watching the game together. There's a lot of good ribbing right there because I think Tom said something along the lines of, I loved playing against Peyton more than I did playing against Eli. And then Eli's like, well, I'm sorry, Tom, but I loved playing against you. So they got jokes. They're funny, and I don't know how much of it's scripted or not.
Yeah, well, you could tell Peyton had things he wanted to say, and he was trying to get his point in,
moving,
and he couldn't because other people were talking over him, and he was getting a little frustrated, it looked like. But he had to wear Eli's number 10 Ole Miss jersey for the first half, and he couldn't wait to get off, and it was really tight on him, so he had trouble getting it on and off. And so, but yeah, I mean, watching Peyton and Eli is good if you really don't care about the game or the teams, and I really didn't care much about the Monday night game. So, I mean, if it were the Lions, no, I'd want to take it a little more seriously because they get off subject a lot, and it just doesn't.
I think that is for more if you're not fans of the team.
If it's really your team out there, you don't want to listen to Peyton and Eli. But if it's just, I wouldn't be watching the game otherwise, but Peyton and Eli are there, so I'll watch that. So that's what they're doing, is they're bringing in those people that wouldn't be watching it otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
All right, we're going to move on now to the CFL. It's week 12 in their shortened season, And on Friday, the Montreal Alouettes defeated the Toronto Argonauts 37-16. Toronto had their 3-game winning streak snapped and are now tied with Montreal for the best record in the East at 6-4. Montreal quarterback Matt Schultz started a second straight game for the injured Vernon Adams and was 12 of 18 for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the night belonged to running back William Stanback, who carried the ball 24 times for 203 yards and a touchdown.
203 yards rushing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep. And, sorry, I just lost my place. Wide receiver Eugene Lewis caught 7 passes for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. For Toronto, it was quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson, who was 25 of 40 passing for 291 with no touchdowns and threw 4 interceptions. Man, oh man.
That's the story of the game right
Wide
there.
receiver Curly Gittins caught 8 passes for 116 yards, and wide receiver Ricky Collins Jr. caught 6 passes for 95 yards. And that little pause is what happens when there's a comma, and then you have to go down to the next line, and then Junior's right there. So that was that. Moving on, Saturday, the Hamilton Tiger Cats defeated the Ottawa Red Blacks 32-3.
That was a spanking.
Yep, Hamilton quarterback Jeremiah Masoli was 25 of 28. Now that's a good percentage right there.
Yep.
For 320 yards. That's also good.
Yeah.
And 2 touchdowns, which is pretty good. Backup quarterback Dane Evans came in on short yardage plays, running 3 times and scoring 2 touchdowns. So
if you touch the ball 3 times in the game, you get 2 touchdowns.
yeah, that's a good night for him. Wide receiver Braylon Addison led the Hamilton receivers with 5 receptions for 95 yards. And the only scoring play for Ottawa was a 9-yard field goal. That's right. I said that right. 9-yard field goal by Lewis Ward in the second quarter. Ottawa also, after the game, or over the weekend, relieved general manager Marcel Desjardins of his duties a few days after the game. Yeah. The team is 2-9 with the worst record in the CFL.
Yeah, you got to remember, the ball's on the 9-yard line. The goalposts are on the goal line.
Yeah, they're on the goal line.
It's like you got to punch it right straight up in the air to make it from that close.
Man, I bet you that kicker could have done that blindfolded.
Yeah.
All right. Also Saturday, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers shut out the British Columbia Lions 45-0.
Another beatdown.
Yeah, the Blue Bombers are now 6-0 at home this season, and with this win, they have clinched the CFL's West Division. Winnipeg scored on offense, defense, and special teams as they improved to 10-1, the best record in all of the CFL. And note the redundancy of the writer sitting across from me.
Well, it's just they're the only one that's even clinched a playoff spot, and they've won the West Division.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're just an awesome team this year.
Yeah, but how many times have you said the best record?
Well,
Anyway, Winnipeg quarterback Zach Collaros was 16 of 20 for 267 yards and 3 touchdowns. In the third quarter, defensive lineman Willie Jefferson intercepted a pass and returned it 39 yards for a touchdown. And on special teams, wide receiver Janarian Grant returned a punt 63 yards for a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
yeah, they scored just about every way you could that night.
Yeah.
It was just bad.
And then also on Saturday, and to finish out this triple header, Saskatchewan Roughriders defeated the Calgary Stampeders 20-17. Finally, a close game.
Mm-hmm.
Saskatchewan quarterback Cody Fajardo was 21 of 26 for 222 yards with 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Kyron Moore caught 6 passes for 64 yards and a touchdown, while wide receiver Braden
Linnaeus.
Caught 3 passes for 44 yards and a touchdown. That's a pretty good per catch average.
Mm-hmm.
Kicker Brett Lothar connected on 4 field goals, the longest of which was 52 yards. And in Calgary quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell was 21 of 31 for 311 yards and a touchdown. He also became the Stampeders' all-time leader in career completions, surpassing Henry Burris. And then on bye in the CFL this week, the Edmonton Elks, who will play their next game at home against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Okay.
Is that right? Who did Hamilton play this week?
I forget.
Going back through British Columbia. Oh, Hamilton defeated Ottawa. Okay. I for whatever reason, I blanked. I was like, wait a minute. I don't remember mentioning Hamilton at all. Anyway, so your standings in the West, as we mentioned, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at 10-1, the best record in the CFL, the best record in the West, have clinched.
You can't say that enough.
No, now I'm off. I'm doing this on my own. Saskatchewan in second place with a 6-4 record, followed by Calgary at 5-6, British Columbia at 4-6, and Edmonton at 2-7. In the East, we talked about this as well. Montreal holding on to that number 1 spot at a 6-4 record, and then right below them with the same record, Toronto 6-4, Hamilton 5-5, and then Ottawa at 2-9. We are almost to the playoffs, folks, and the CFL playoffs are always special.
Yeah, and Hamilton really wants to get into the playoffs because the Grey Cup is in Hamilton, so they want to be in the Grey Cup in their home stadium. That would be an awesome event for them.
All right, so that's enough from me. We're going to now throw it over to the other side of the room where we're going to hear about this week's college scores. Take it away.
College scores for Week 8. We're going to start with the top 4. The number 1 team, Georgia, was on a bye, so they didn't even play. Number 2, Cincinnati over Navy, 27-20. That dropped Navy to a 1-6 record. Number 3, Oklahoma over Kansas, 35-23. And number 4, Alabama over Tennessee, 52-24. In top 25 upsets, it was Illinois upsetting number 7 Penn State, 20-18. In 9 overtimes.
Yeah, so I heard it was 9 overtime, so I just assumed the scoring had gotten out of control. And when I went to look, I was like, oh, there was literally no scoring at overtime, pretty much.
Yeah, it was the first 9 overtime game. There was no scoring in overtimes number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. In 2017, Western Michigan, right here in town, went 7 overtimes with Buffalo, and they finally won that game. And in 2019, LSU and Texas A&M went to 7 overtimes, but this is the first 9 overtime game.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
That must have been awful to watch.
That had to have been one of the longest
No
games
scoring
ever. And then no scoring.
For
their overtimes in college are set up for scoring, and they couldn't even do that.
Right. After the first overtime, you have to go for 2 all the time, or you put it on the 2-yard line, and you go from there, and couldn't do it. Nobody could do it.
Man.
Nobody wanted to win. I wonder if they'll change the rules and say, look, if nobody scores after 5 overtimes, it's going to be a tie.
They just need to change that overtime to NFL style, like just first team to score, like the old NFL sudden death, or do it what the NFL is doing. Add another quarter. I think they should add ties back to college. Who cares? A lot of these teams are so evenly matched anyway, and half the time the committee is going to just pair teams back up again for a rematch. So go for that. So
who knows?
I think that's what they should do. Do the NFL rules, but I think you need a full 15 minutes. First team to score 6 points, or first team to after another possession. The NFL rules. Come on, we all know them now.
Yeah. Or the first team to get 2 field goals. 6 points and you won.
Oh, there you go. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just be the first team to score. Who cares?
In other upsets, it was Iowa State upsetting number 8 Oklahoma State 24-21. Appalachian State upset number 14 Coastal Carolina 30-27. Miami of Florida upset number 18 North Carolina State 31-30. And it was Wisconsin upsetting number 25 Purdue 30-13. In other scores, it was number 6 Michigan over Northwestern 33-7. We watched a good share of that game.
I didn't watch any of this game.
No?
No.
I guess I was watching it by myself.
You're watching it by yourself, and I caught the brother-in-law watching it because I stopped over there.
Okay, that's right. You were out of town.
He wasn't happy. Yeah.
Was it your mother I was watching it with? I can't believe
Who
that.
knows? One of you two was asleep.
Let's see.
Number 12, Ole Miss over LSU,
There
31-17. And Eli Manning was in the end zone, in honor of Eli, where they retired his jersey this weekend.
They retired his jersey. They had a ceremony, and they had his name in the end zone instead of Ole Miss. It said Manning in the end zone. I'll have a little bit more on that here in a little bit. Toledo over Western Michigan, 34-15. This never should have happened. Western should have won that game. That drops Western Michigan to 5-3. Blowouts and shutouts, it was Florida State over Massachusetts, 59-3, and it was number 5 Ohio State over Indiana, 54-7. Military academies. Here's a little fact for you. All 3 military academies this week played ranked teams. We already talked about Navy losing. Let's see. Wake Forest defeated number 18. Wake Forest defeated Army, 70-56. You score 56 points, then you still lost. But that dropped.
Are you sure they weren't the Detroit Lions? That'd be something that happened to Detroit.
But that dropped Army to a record of 4-3. Number 22, San Diego State over Air Force, 20-14. I watched some of this game too, and that was a good game. But Air Force just didn't have it at the end. But Air Force drops to 6-2 on the season. Let's see. So we have a new top 4, actually a new top 25, but the top 4 got rearranged a little bit. Georgia remained number 1, even though they had a bye. Number 2, Cincinnati. Number 3, Alabama. And number 4 is Oklahoma. So there's your top 4 teams going into next week. There are 9 undefeated teams in the Associated Press top 25 poll this week. You've got number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Cincinnati. Number 4, Oklahoma. Number 6, Michigan. Number 7, Michigan State.
Number 8, Michigan State.
I'm sorry, number 8, Michigan State. And those two, Michigan and Michigan State, will play this weekend.
Oh, yeah, it's hate week in the state of Michigan, everybody.
Yeah. College game day is going to be there, too.
Yep.
In East Lansing. Number 13, Wake Forest is also undefeated. Number 19, SMU. Number 21, San Diego State. And number 23, University of Texas, San Antonio.
Go Roadrunners.
Most of these teams are all 7-0, except for Oklahoma, who are 8-0, and UTSA at 8-0. So
yeah, that Michigan State game, that's going to be a telling game because I think Michigan is a fraudulent 7-0, and Michigan State, I'm not saying they're also fraudulent, but I think this will be a big test for both teams.
Well, like you said, this is hate week. And
the state of Michigan is divided.
This will be a barn burner.
And the appetizer in the state of Michigan, for those of you who aren't familiar with our great state, the Mitten, as you might not know it, we already got the appetizer this last weekend. The whole Matt Stafford, that was kind of on a lot of Michiganders' minds, especially football fans. Everybody paid attention to it. Everybody misses Matt Stafford. That was the appetizer. Here it is. This is the main course for the state this week, and then we'll get to what dessert is when Michigan plays Ohio State. But this is the main course right now.
Right.
Michigan versus Michigan State. You're going to see nothing this week. It's going to be either people dressed in maize and blue, or you're going to see people in green and white. There is no in between. Even if you're a Western fan, you're either in one color or the other. I know I'm going to be out of town this weekend to watch the game with some Michigan State graduates, so I think there'll be a little bias at that party, and I'm wondering if I should wear a Michigan shirt just to rile them up.
I don't know.
I'm going to do it now.
But, I mean, this is always a big week here in the state of Michigan. But to have both of these teams
ranked and undefeated
at 7-0, somebody's going to get their first loss of the season. Number 6, Michigan. Number 8, Michigan State.
This is going to be,
oh my gosh,
hopefully a good game.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. We'll talk about this next week. All right, let's take a look at some lower-level college football scores in our spotlight this week. FCS, it was San Diego over Presbyterian, 69-28. In Division II, it was the number 1 ranked Ferris State Bulldogs, improving to 7-0 with a win over Michigan Tech, 38-10. By the way, you know your Uncle Bob went to Ferris State for a while, played in the band.
Yeah, you never fail to mention that whenever Ferris State gets brought up.
That's why I didn't realize they were number 1 in Division II, but that's pretty good for them. Number 3, Wisconsin Lutheran over Eureka, 68-41. That's 109 total points scored in that game. NAIA, it was Montana State Northern over Eastern Oregon, 22-20 in 5 overtimes. Let's see. Junior college football, Snow College Badgers improved to 6-1 with a win over Kilgore, 43-21. And in one other junior college score, it was Butler over Fort Scott, 73-3. At least they didn't get shut out. U Sports up in Canada. St. Francis Xavier, the X-Men, over Bishop University. Their mascot is the Gators, 48-21. Now this is not Gators like the Florida Gators. This is Gators spelled Gaiters, which is a garment worn over the shoes and lower pant legs and used primarily as personal protective equipment. Like when you're out in the woods and you don't want to get your legs scratched or whatever, you put these gaiters on and they go over like from your knees on down to protect your legs, snake bites and things like that. I had no idea. When I saw the way this was spelled, I had to do a little research, and that's what a gaiter is. So they're named after a piece of clothing that protects you from snake bites. Interesting. Okay, and finally, Canadian Junior Football League. It was the Edmonton Huskies over the Edmonton Wildcats, 35-27. And that's it for our World of Football scoreboard this week. So let's move into some NFL news. And the biggest news that I found was linebacker Chris Spielman is going to be inducted into the Lions Ring of Honor, which is also known as the Pride of the Lions, and that's going to be this Sunday, October 31st, during their game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And they had a really cool video of how he found this out.
I was asking if you'd seen it, and you're like, I didn't even know. And so I showed you the video, and it was pretty good. They even showed it on the broadcast this last week, the Lions-Rams game.
Yep.
Good for Chris Spielman.
Yes,
deserved. He's always been one of our favorite Lions.
Yep, he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Great dude, and now he's part of the organization in an official capacity as Martha's assistant to the owner.
I forget what his technical.
He's got a big, long title.
Is.
But, hey, we're glad to have him around. We're glad to finally put him up in that Ring of Honor. And the video is pretty darn cool. So congratulations, Mr. Spielman, from two Lions fans who haven't even accomplished a shred of the things you have done for our favorite team.
Yeah, so it was a neat video. If you haven't seen it, I posted it on our Twitter.
Just go to the Lions social media account. You can find it on one of them.
Right. Yeah. They set him up to read some
like a promo. Yeah.
Right, and he's reading about this guy, and he finally realized that they're talking about him, and he's like, "What's going on?"
And then the owner, Martha,
Sheila Ford Hamp.
Sheila Ford Hamp. Yes, sorry. Yeah. Sheila Ford Hamp and Rod Wood, the team president, kind of snuck in and
finished reading the thing for him because he was very emotional, and it was great. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. That was really cool. All right, the NFL is paying $1.55 million, which is a drop in the bucket to the NFL, to 3 companies to develop a better football helmet. Receiving the grant awards are a company called Collide in Toronto. They're receiving $550,000.
Of Montreal.
What did I say?
You said Toronto.
Oh, of Montreal. I'm sorry. Xenix, which I've heard of this company because they're in Detroit. They make helmets, and they're getting $496,500. And another company in Denver called Impressio, I think that's how you pronounce that, they're getting $454,000. And I'm surprised they didn't give any money to Rydell. I mean, Rydell's been the main helmet manufacturer for a long time for the NFL, and a lot of players wear their helmets, but they're not getting any money. But the thing that I saw in this article was that all 3 of these new companies are using some form of 3D printing technology to create their helmets. So I don't know if that's what they want to do, if they can, rather than having them molded, have them 3D printed. I don't know what the significance is there, but those 3 companies are getting some money from the NFL to try and develop a better mousetrap. Or should I say
I'm anxious to see what they do with some of this. And we have kind of a developing story in the NFL that I just got alerted to.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to read the whole thing, but essentially, ex-Washington football team employees have brought a letter to the NFL owners meeting. This is the first NFL owners meeting they've had since
in person
since 2019.
Okay.
Urging the NFL to release the investigation report that's been going on. So another weird turn in this strange series of events.
That's not going to happen. If it's going to make the NFL look bad, they're not going to release it.
They probably won't, but it's
unless they get a court order.
Like I said, it's the developing thing, and it's another wrinkle into this weird, bizarre, probably going to bring down the league story. So, who knows?
Yeah. All right.
Hey, if the NFL does fall apart because of this whole email thing, I'm glad that we have the Canadian Football League to fall back on, and maybe the
last man standing.
Yeah. Hey, I'd welcome a CFL team in Michigan. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Might have to knock a wall out of Ford Field to accommodate that big field.
I'm down with that.
Whatever.
Shoot. Add a retractable roof while they're at it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they should have done
with
that.
With one open side of the stadium to add that extra 20 yards, whatever they need.
Out into the parking lot.
Out into the parking lot.
All right, we're going to move on to some CFL news. When I first saw this headline, I really got upset. But then I read the article, and it was not as bad as it sounds.
That's the problem with your generation. You read a article title, and you got mad.
Yeah.
Then you have to read the actual article to be, okay. But also, that's my generation, too. That's everybody. Don't just read the headline and assume. Right. Get in there.
Yep. Do your research. Unvaccinated players will not be allowed to participate in the Canadian Football League playoffs.
Well, that's just not right there, Randy. I'm going to scuff my feet and throw my hat on the ground.
My first thought was, if they're good enough to play all season long, why are you going to throw them out beginning with the playoffs?
And then what did the article say?
A federal ban on unvaccinated air and rail travel in Canada goes into effect on November 30th. That's where this is coming from. It's not the league. It's the federal government.
So you're telling me the CFL's not to blame for this?
No. Players who can't travel with their teams to the East or West Division Finals or the Grey Cup because of this federal vaccine travel mandate will not be allowed to play. They don't want them driving across the country to try and get to a game to get a check or whatever.
Right.
They will be placed on a suspended list and will not be paid for the playoffs. So, if you want to participate, then you better get your vaccine. Otherwise, come playoff time, you may be done for the season. That's all it is. But yeah, at first I thought it was the league that was saying, well, we've decided that we don't want any unvaccinated players playing in the playoffs. No, it's because of a federal government ban on traveling if you don't have
Didn't we mention this last week before we got all this information?
I don't know. Hang on.
And we have a live phone call.
Okay, that's it.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Was that your doctor? You just hanging up on your doctor out of nowhere?
Yeah, it was probably bad news, and I don't want to hear it. So, okay. So, well, we kind of heard something about this last week.
Is your ingrown toe okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Are we gonna be able to?
It's sore from kicking you in the butt, but otherwise it's fine.
I'm gonna tell that to my picks this week.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't remember if we talked about this last week.
I thought we did. I thought we mentioned it. Maybe we just mentioned it in person. I don't remember. I don't go back and listen to the old shows anymore. Yeah. That's old stuff. I'm all about the new shows.
But I had this down. I had this headline down, and it wasn't until earlier today that I actually read the whole article. I said, "Oh, well, that's not so bad." So okay. Anyway, in college news, Iowa State wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson had a touchdown call back due to taunting.
Taunting is out of control across every level of football. I am sick of it.
I saw this replay, and I can't even see what they're talking about. Yeah, he might have been hamming it up to the fans in the end zone a little bit, but to me, it was not taunting.
Taunting is ridiculous. Taunting should just be done away with, unless it's like an obscene gesture like the throat slashing. Mm. That is the one thing that I'd say get rid of that. You don't need the throat slashing.
Right.
But even then, I wouldn't. Come on, guys. This is ridiculous.
I thought it was taunting your opponent. Another player. Like if you catch a pass and you shake the ball right in his face, like I got it and you didn't, you loser. I mean, that's taunting to me. But when you're in the end zone, you're kind of celebrating and you're kind of looking at the crowd and you're waving your hands around. That is not taunting.
And the inconsistency, not just from one level to another, but within that level. Like we had Aaron Rodgers screaming at the crowd saying, "I own you" last week.
Right.
I didn't see a flag. Did you?
No.
You have how many college guys who, high step into the end zone or spike a ball in front of an opposing player or, jaw a little bit. No flags there, but this dude waves like the inconsistency across all these levels of football is maddening.
Yeah. I think that there was one guy a few years ago that also had another touchdown brought back because of taunting. I can't remember who or where, but it seems like this. If it's true, it's only one other time that I've ever heard of a touchdown being called back. They said that this was a possibility, a couple years ago, that with this taunting rule, if they say you're taunting, they'll take that touchdown back. This may be the first time. There might have been one other. I cannot remember exactly who or when that was.
Look, I think in the professional ranks, taunting, these are grown men. If they can't take another dude talking smack, get out of here. There's pickup football games and pickup basketball games around this country and the planet where that trash talking is way worse than on an NFL or NBA court. Way worse. Yeah. So don't even start with me. These guys get paid millions of dollars, and okay, I get it. I'm all about feelings and whatnot, but there's a line. Okay, every player, mental health is a big thing. But I'm telling you, if Aaron Donald can go up to Penei Sewell and like talk smack, and Penei Sewell can take it right back. Mm-hmm. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Unless it's like life-threatening and a referee over here is like, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
Okay, right there's taunting. Get rid of it. But, or racial stuff. No, we don't need the racial stuff on the football field either.
Yep.
So there's a limit. But some of this just basic, like waving bye-bye, like waving the bye-bye is the biggest thing right now.
Yeah. And this guy didn't even do that.
Yeah. That's what I don't get. It's ridiculous. And I'm sick of it.
Watch the video. It's on our Twitter feed.
It was a great touchdown. Just to be called back for something stupid. It
was ridiculous. And they got the touchdown back a few plays later. Somebody else scored a touchdown, but
that guy didn't. That's the bummer.
This was totally uncalled for by the refs.
Let's move on. I hate taunting.
Yeah, the last college story here was kind of going back to the Eli Manning thing. His number 10 jersey was retired by Ole Miss. His name was in the end zone, and he becomes only the third player to have his number retired by Ole Miss. And the other two are his father, quarterback Archie Manning, and a guy by the name of Chucky Mullins, who was a defensive back. He suffered a devastating injury during a game against Vanderbilt in 1989 that left him a quadriplegic, and he passed away 2 years later. So his number has been retired also. So those are the only three players, two Mannings and Chucky Munson, ever to have their jerseys retired at Ole Miss. So that's the story on that. And speaking of Eli, Eli's Places on ESPN Plus. I watched episode 8 last week. It was called Hidden History, and they talked about HBCU schools. And they talked to Jerry Rice, who attended HBCU Mississippi Valley State. He talked about how their field was just terrible that they played on, and how they had to do a lot of things for themselves. But he became a better person, a better player for his time there, and he had nothing but good things to say about his experience at an HBCU. They also talked to Ed Tutall Jones, who was a star with the Cowboys. He was at Tennessee State. They actually, Eli was talking to him in one of the dorm rooms, and he barely, he didn't even fit in one of the beds there in the dorm, so I can't imagine what life was like for him going to college there. But they also talked to the head coach at Tennessee State, who today is Eddie George, former Heisman Trophy running back. So it was a pretty good episode, a lot of good information there. So check out Eli's Places. Episode 8 is out, and episode 9 should be out probably tonight, probably. All right, let's see. Arena Football TV on YouTube. They are now up to 967 subscribers. Only 33 to go. They're inching their way towards 1,000 subscribers. Help them out.
Slowly but surely.
Subscribe to this YouTube channel. You won't be disappointed. They've got some great old games. And this week, in fact, it's premiering tonight at 7 o'clock, so it's not out right yet. But you can watch it live with a bunch of other people, make comments during the game. From 1998, the Milwaukee Mustangs at our beloved Grand Rapids Rampage. And Sparky McEwen, who's been on our show, he was the quarterback that very first season in Grand Rapids. This was the first season of the Rampage in Grand Rapids. Sparky McEwen was the quarterback. He eventually went on to be an assistant coach, and then head coach, and then head coach in other arena teams, AF2. And now he's still in Grand Rapids, but he's the head coach at Davenport College.
Yeah.
So
you've had him on this show. You've interviewed him.
I said that already.
Yeah. I'm just doing that thing where we reiterate something that somebody's already said, just to prove to you that it's annoying.
Say it 4 or 5 times, and people will remember it. So yeah, so check that game out today. I'm kind of.
And also, if you guys don't know, Sparky McEwen was interviewed on this very show
about a year ago.
About a year ago by that man sitting across from me.
All right, got some obituaries. I was trying to keep this down to no more than 4
you've been trying to get into a habit. I know there's a lot of great,
I tried to get them
stories.
all in, but I had to say,
you've been keeping it to 4.
To 4.
But this week there was a 5th one that we just had to add in.
Yep.
So let's just get going.
And I hope you appreciate this. I took some of the harder names to pronounce for myself, and the very first one, oh man.
I could have read that. Let me read this first one.
Okay.
Pass.
2-0 Alipate. I think it's how you
Alipate. Okay, I'll roll with that. You know what? I'll take the challenge.
Okay.
2-0 Alipate, who played linebacker in the NFL and the CFL, has passed away at the age of 54. Alipate played college football at Washington State. After college, he signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the Canadian Football League and played for the Riders in 1989 and 1990, winning a Grey Cup in 1989. He also played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 1991. Alipate went on to play for the New York Jets in 1994, the Minnesota Vikings in 95, and the Frankfurt Galaxy of the World League of American Football in 1997.
Okay, I'll take this easier name.
Okay.
Dennis Franks, a center in the NFL for 4 seasons, has passed away at the age of 68. Franks played college football at Michigan. He signed as a free agent with the Philadelphia Eagles, where he played from 1976 to 1978. And he finished his playing career with the Detroit Lions in 1979.
Our next obituary is that of Donald Stoney Stonesifer.
I was going to say
Stonesifer?
Stonecipher.
Ooh, I like that. Stonecipher? That's a badass name.
It's probably Stonecipher. I don't know. I didn't look up
Stonecipher. That's like a detective story character right there. Donald Stoney Stones. How'd you say it?
Donald Stoney. Now I think it might be Stonecipher.
So I was probably right the first time. But
you were probably right. Stonecipher or Stonecipher.
Stonecipher. Yep. Okay.
Donald
Stoney Stonecipher.
Stonecipher.
Get out of here while I'm trying to do it.
All right.
Donald Stoney Stonecipher, an end in the NFL for 6 seasons, has passed away at the age of 94. Stonecipher played college football at Northwestern University and was selected in the third round of the 1951 NFL Draft by the Chicago Cardinals. He played for the team from 1951 to 1956. Stonecipher is a member of the Northwestern University and the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame.
Halls of Fame, both of them.
Yes, Stonecipher, man. If we got that name wrong to any family members, we apologize.
Yeah.
I think either way, Stonecipher or Stonecipher, that cool detective names.
All right, the next one is Buddy Alliston, who was a linebacker in the NFL and the CFL, has passed away at the age of 87. Alliston played his college football at Ole Miss, and he was selected in the 15th round of the 1956 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers. However, he chose to sign with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the Canadian Football League and played for the team in 1956 and 1959. Winnipeg won the Grey Cup in 1959. Alliston also played for the AFL's Denver Broncos in 1960.
All right, and our final obituary is that of Mike Lucci, who was a linebacker in the NFL for 12 seasons and has passed away at the age of 81. Lucci played college football at Pittsburgh and at Tennessee. He was selected in the 5th round of the 1961 NFL Draft by the Cleveland Browns. He played 3 seasons with the Browns from 1962 to 1964. He then played the next 9 seasons of his career with the Detroit Lions from 1965 to 1973. He also played himself in the movie Paper Lion starring Alan Alda in 1968. Yeah. Lucci! I know it was you, Lucci.
That was a great scene. Alan Alda was chasing him all over the place one night. He woke him up out of a sound sleep. I know it's you, Lucci.
Yeah, we've talked about that movie before. As Lions fans, it's kind of one of the staples of our not of our fandom, but it's just a cool thing we have to tip our cap to.
And you can watch it on Amazon Prime. You can rent it.
That's how we watched it.
But it has never been out on DVD. I would love to have that on my collection.
I would love to have a Blu-ray of that.
But it's never been on.
Because that movie, it's weird because it's like the first or the 3/4 of the movie are, kind of cheesy, kind of fun, just a typical 60s football movie or 70s football movie. But then that last part where you actually see an NFL game, it was like legit NFL films footage. It looked gorgeous. I remember we did our football on film for a little bit series, and you can probably still go back and find that on the podcast feed. But that film, at that point, just seeing the game footage, it was gorgeous. Yeah. I would love to have that in like a 4K or a Blu-ray disc.
I think NFL Films might have.
I think they did. I think we might have talked about that at the time. The NFL film did actually film that part of the movie, and it was incredible.
But Mike Lucci is just a legendary name in Detroit Lions history, and I was not aware that he had played 3 seasons with the Browns because I've just always associated him with the Detroit Lions. So it was a little bit of a surprise when I saw that he actually was drafted by the Browns, played there 3 years before he came to Detroit. So condolences to all those families today. Happy birthdays today, October 26th, to Coach Sid Gilman, who was born on this date in 1911 and passed away in 2003 at the age of 91. He played for the LA Rams from 1955 to 1950. No, he was coach. He didn't play. He was coach. I'm sorry. He was a coach at for the LA Rams from 55 to 59, the San Diego Chargers from 60 to 71, and the Houston Oilers from 1973 through 1974. He was the AFL Coach of the Year in 1974, and he won the 1963 AFL title with the Chargers. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1983. All right, any more breaking news before we go on to this week's history lesson?
Yes, actually, we got 2 things.
Oh, no.
The first thing is the movie Dune is getting a sequel, everybody.
Oh, God.
They just announced that we are going to get a Dune Part 2, so everybody rest assured. The second piece of news is that there is an interview with Randy and Sparky McEwen. We did it about a year ago. You can find that. It was pretty good. I think he did a really good job. I'm talking about Sparky, the interviewer, not so much.
It was so long I had to make it 2 parts.
That was a long interview. Yeah, you guys had a good time, though.
Yeah, we did. We hadn't spoken in a while, and it was really good to connect with him again. Okay, moving on to this week's history lesson. This week we're going to talk about 3 teams who all use the same helmet logo.
Gee, who could you be talking about?
Yeah, one's in the NFL and 2 are in college. There is nothing more important to a football team's identity than the logo that adorns their helmet. A good logo can say a lot about a team and give their fans something to rally around. But one logo is so good that it has been copied by two other teams. That would be the football-shaped G logo that is used by the Green Bay Packers, the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Grambling State Tigers. Their logos look strikingly similar and are beloved by their respective fan bases. But who originally came up with the design? The Packers were the first team to debut the now famous logo in 1961. The team had never had a logo on their helmet before, but more and more NFL teams were beginning to incorporate them at the time. Vince Lombardi asked his equipment manager, Gerald Brazier, to design a logo for the helmet. Brazier, in turn, tasked his assistant, John Gordon, who was an art student at nearby St. Norbert College, to come up with a design. Gordon sketched a football-shaped white letter G on a green background. Lombardi loved it. The logo has changed very little over the years and is one of the most iconic logos in the NFL. Green Bay owns the trademark on the design. In 1963, Vince Dooley took over as the head coach at the University of Georgia. At the time, the team was wearing a silver helmet with a red block letter G on it. Dooley wanted something better. According to the University of Georgia website, Dooley's backfield coach, John Donaldson, volunteered his wife Ann, who had a bachelor's degree in commercial art from Georgia, to come up with a new design. The design she came up with was very similar to the Packers logo, except that it was black with a white background. Since it was so similar to the Green Bay logo, Dooley felt he needed to ask permission from the Packers before implementing the logo at the school. The Packers agreed to let them use the logo without any compensation. Dooley also changed the team's helmets from silver to red, and the results are what Georgia fans see on the field today. Grambling State University began using a similar design in 1964, a black oval G on a gold background. Legendary Grambling coach Eddie Robinson was leading the football program when the logo was added to the football helmets for the first time in 1974. The story behind the adoption of the logo at Grambling is not totally clear, but some say it is, in part, a tribute to defensive end Willie Davis, a former Grambling player who went on to play for the Packers from 1960 to 1969. He won 5 NFL titles with Green Bay, including the first 2 Super Bowls. Davis was also the first player at the school to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1981. Green Bay has also granted permission for Grambling to use the logo, again with no compensation. So as you can see, the logo is used by 3 different teams, but with different colors. It just makes sense that 3 teams, who all are associated with the letter G, would want to use such a logo. Although the logo is basically the same, each team has made it their own. Each design is instantly recognizable and loved by the fans in Green Bay, Georgia, and at Grambling.
Did you see what I did there at the beginning with the G? Like, G, who could you be talking about?
No, I missed that.
Of course you did. That's why I was like, this joke isn't going to go appreciated by this man sitting across from me.
Gee, I'm sure glad you pointed that out to me.
Do we need one more G to be...
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, G Willikers, Randy.
Let's move on.
Okay, but hey, thanks for that one. That was always one that I was always curious about.
I had always wondered about that too, and to find out that Green Bay said okay to both of them and didn't charge them anything, and didn't make them pay anything. I think that's awesome. That wouldn't happen today.
Yeah.
You know, this is back in the '60s when, what's mine is yours. You know, you're not gonna.
But there's just so much of this, like even from like not just NFL to college, but like a lot of high school teams. Like, we've got local teams.
Oh, sure. It looked like the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
My old high school was the Lions. Our helmet looked just like the Detroit Lions helmet.
Any Rams teams got the Ram horns. Yep. I'm sure there's countless other Eagles. A lot of teams use the wings on the helmet.
So high school is pretty prevalent, but to see a couple of major college programs using the design that's trademarked by the Green Bay Packers is a little unusual. But, as soon as you see each one of those, you instantly know, well, this one's Georgia, this one's Green Bay, this one's Grambling.
See, we just need to start our own high school and then just use the Miami Hooters helmet, and I think we could get away with that.
Maybe.
As I say, just looking over your helmet collection over there, that Miami
Or the
Hooters.
Minnesota Fighting Pike.
Oh, the Fighting Pike.
That jumping pike with the evil red eye.
That's a pretty good one. But, I've always been partial to the Albany Firebird helmet, both versions. So,
all right, upcoming events calendar. November 20th, the end of the CFL's shortened 14-game season. That same day, 2 longtime college football rivalries will take place, the 137th Harvard-Yale game and the 156th Lehigh-Lafayette game. These games got canceled last year, so they're renewing their rivalries after a year off, thanks to COVID. Yeah, thank you, COVID. December 11th, the 122nd Army-Navy game will be played in Philadelphia, and on December 12th, the 108th Grey Cup game will be played in Hamilton.
All right, and we have legit breaking news, I promise, this time.
All right.
The 2022 NFL Combine will be held in Indianapolis again.
That's breaking news.
Well, hold on. NFL executive Troy Vincent said that the Combine will be returning to Indianapolis in 2022 and will take place in Dallas, L.A., or Indianapolis in 2023.
Oh, so they're holding out that carrot to different places.
Yes.
For 2023.
So there you go. We'll end the show with that little nugget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. They have dates for the combine.
For the combine. Well, let me click on this and we can quickly.
That's okay.
Check.
We can talk more about it next week.
Just quickly scan it.
It's usually like the last weekend in February, maybe even rolling over into March.
I'm not seeing any hard dates.
They may not have set the date yet. That's fine. Okay.
But the NFL, however, says they've made the combine locations for 2023 to 2028 subject to bidding.
Ooh.
It is unknown when the winning 2023 bid will be announced. So all it says is the combine gathers 300 NFL draft prospects for a 4-day series of medical, physical, blah, blah, blah. We all know how the combine goes. So interesting. It's going to be, as the NFL tends to do, everything's a bidding war.
Yeah. Pay the league to hold your own event at some place, and I'm sure Jerry Jones will outbid everybody else to get that down in Dallas and get more use out of his various stadiums. All right, so that's it.
Yep,
that's it for this week.
Yes.
If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
Go to Facebook, click that like button on the World of Football Facebook page. We are /TWOF Kalamazoo there.
Yeah, do it quickly before Facebook disappears from the Ethernet.
Why? What's happening with Facebook?
Oh, well, they're going to change their name for one thing, probably just to hide what they've been doing all these years.
What?
Yeah.
Why am I just finding this out?
Because you don't watch the news.
That's also true.
The whistleblower about Facebook and
I've not seen that.
How they promote it.
We're a football show. What
Don't you ever watch 60 Minutes?
It's been a couple
Get your head out of YouTube and watch some real news once in a while.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, I guess while it lasts, we'll have to find a different platform. But currently, there are pictures, videos, highlights from all over the world of football you can enjoy there, and also over on our Twitter account where there's usually more stuff that we share. On our Twitter @TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted every single Tuesday, barring investigation, and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is The World of Football Kalamazoo, so subscribe, rate, review, give us your feedback. We're still kind of playing around with the channel. A little late on a couple of your history lessons getting uploaded there, but those are kind of no rush things. We've done them on the podcast, and if you haven't listened to them then, you can wait till we post them there in fun little video packages with little pictures that Randy finds himself that Adam usually has to find better versions of that look better on screen.
I'm sorry, the ones that I find sometimes are only 200 by 200.
And then Adam finds ones that are better quality that do the job, and then he's like, oh, I didn't see that one. Anyway, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football or 60 Minutes conversation.
Once again, we're doing our weekly NFL picks, but this year they're available exclusively on our YouTube channel. That would be the World of Football Kalamazoo. So look for them on Thursdays throughout the NFL season.
Yes, those we've been pretty good lately about getting those up Thursday, no issues. So
yeah, sometimes they get posted right as the
kickoff for the Thursday night game.
Thursday night game's already going.
It's just weird. Sometimes like I can get it uploaded, no problem, and then sometimes it like takes forever to process, and I don't know what the deal is or the holdup once I get it uploaded. So then we're just victims to maybe it's just lost in the queue at YouTube of getting uploaded. So
who knows?
Who knows?
All right, and remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do.
Well, probably Tom Brady, but
join us again next week when we'll review all the happenings in and around the world of football. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow, leaving you with this famous quote. A wise man once said, "Forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza." That would be Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
God. See you all next week.